Folks, well, we all know the Holy Bible. It has Genesis 1, the Revelation, we all know it that. But did you know, actually, if the Word of God explained everything that He had in store for us and all His love, the world could not be able to contain it. So, I'm going to be reading these verses about God's love towards us, and I'll try my best to explain them, and if you can listen if you want to, and go on with your day. But I'm going to start off with 1 John 4, 7 through 8. 1 John 4, 7 through 8. Beloved, let us one another, for love is of God, and everyone that loveth is born of God, and knoweth God. And then go on to verse 8, it says, He that loveth not, knoweth not God, for God is love. Well, yes, I'll try my best to explain it, but verse number 7, Beloved, let us love one another. That means love one another no matter what they've done or what they do to you. Love them, for God loved you. And for once you were a sinner too, and Jesus died in your stead. He never stopped loving you. So that you should always love one another. And then where it goes on to say, everyone that loveth is born of God. That means if you love, you're not going to be God, because none of us is God. We're all fall short in glory to God. But it's saying you'll be like unto God, a peaceful life. And then it goes on to say, and know God. That means you'll know God. And then verse 8 says, He that loveth not knoweth not God, for God is love. That means if you have hate in your heart, you're a sinner, and God's not a sinner. But if you love it, and you have love in your heart, you know God, and God is love. So the second one is John 4, 9 to 12. John 4, 9 to 12. This is what it says. Then saith the woman of Samaria unto him, How is it that thou, being a Jew, askest drink of me, which am a woman of Samaria? For the Jews had no dealing with the Samaritans. Then Jesus went on to answer her and said unto her, If thou knowest the gift of God, and who it is that saith to thee, Give me to drink, thou wouldest have asked of him, and he would have given thee living water. The woman saith unto him, Sir, thou hast nothing to draw with, and the well is deep. From whence then hast thou living water? Art thou greater than our father Jacob, which gave us the well, and drank thereof himself, and his children, and his cattle? Anyways, the woman of Samaria, I don't exactly know her name, but she was a Jew. And she was asking Jesus for a drink. And then he asked her if she knew what's the gift of God and who it is, said to thee, give me to drink. That means he was asking her if she knew God. And then she was saying, and she was telling him that she had nothing to draw with. For the well is deep, and whence thou hast lived that living water. For God is the living water. See, it never runs dry, it never gets broken. It's always a nice steady flow. And then it goes on to say, Jacob was their father, which gave us the well, and drank thereof himself and his children and his cattle. That means they were all drinking from the living water. So that's good. And that's cool. Yeah, and that's what I think that means. So the third verse is 1 John 4, 16 through 18. And we have known and believed the love that God hath to us. God is love. And he that dwelleth in love dwelleth in God, and God is in him. Herein is our love made perfect, that we may have boldness in the day of judgment, because as he is, so are we in the world. There is no fear in love, but for perfect love casteth out fear, because fear hath torment. He that feareth is not made perfect in love. And as in verse 16 says, and we have known and believed the love that God hath to us. See, you gotta believe the love that God hath to you, because God is love. He is love. And he that dwelleth in God, if you go to God, like say, if you have a hard time, you go to God, you go and dwell to him, and he dwells inside of you because you go to him. in verse 18 it says, there is no fear in love, for God's love is perfect. There is no fear in that. But perfect love, speaking of God's love, casteth out fear. It don't bring in fear, it casteth it out. Because fear hath torment, and heaven is not torment. Heaven is love. And then his love is made perfect in him and in love. And that's what I think that means. And the fourth verse is 1 John 4:19. And then the fourth one is 1 John 4:19. That's a pretty well-known verse, I could say so. Oh, I know it by heart, but I don't know if you do, but I do. Where it says, we love him because he first loved us. Well, we didn't love God first. You see, God sent his son Jesus Christ down to the earth to show us his love, that he died on the cross for us. And see, where it says we love him because he first loved us. Like, if you saw a man walking down the road, would you just go up to him and love him? I don't think I would, but see, Jesus did. He died on the cross for you. That means he loved you first. And that means you love him now because he first loved you. And that's what I think that one means. And the fifth one is John 15:9-10. And then John 15:9-10. He's speaking in the King James Version. The red means that Jesus spoke it. And he's speaking to his disciples here. As it says, as the Father hath loved me, so have I loved you. Continue ye in my love. If ye keep my commandments, ye shall abide in my love, even as I have kept my Father's commandment and abide in his love. Go. That is speaking, as he's speaking to his disciples, that means God, his Father, loved Jesus. That means Jesus has loved you. And then he's telling the disciples to continue in his love. And then it goes in verse 10, says, if you keep my commandments, 10 commandments, thou shalt not kill, thou shalt not steal, commit adultery, stuff like that. If you keep my commandments, ye shall abide in my love. Abide means to stay in, not to go out and to be cast out, but to stay into his love. And then see, Jesus, he lived upon this earth 33.5 years. 33.5 years, that's a pretty long time if you think about it, 33 years. And to know that he lived a perfect life that long, and he didn't sin not one time. He just told truth. He never sinned. And that means he abided in his Father's love, and he kept his Father's commandment, and he abode in his love. All right. So next one is John 15:12-13, and as John 15:10 says, if you keep my commandments. And you may be wondering what is commandments. And the first one he recognizes here is, this is my commandment, that ye love one another as I have loved you. That means you love one another. As he loved you, you love another person that you may not know or may not care for. You gotta love them still. And then going down to 13 says, greater love hath no man than this, that he laid down his life for his friends. Greater love hath no man than this. Jesus laid down his life for you. That means greater love hath no man than this. That means there's no love greater than that man, that he laid down his life for his friends. See, Jesus laid down his life for you, so that love is great towards me and you. Okay, and then the next one is John 3:16. And then my seventh verse is John 3:16. Once again, a very recognizable verse. It says, for God so loved the world, that he gave his only begotten Son, that whosoever believeth in him should not perish, but have everlasting life. What it's saying, for God so loved the world, not just a little bit loved the world, but so loved the world, a greater love that passes all understanding to me, I think. For God so loved that he gave his only begotten Son. He didn't just say, oh, no, you can't have him. He gave him freely. He gave him for us. And his only Son. He didn't have another one. He got one Son, and he gave it to us. That whosoever believe in him, that Jesus has raised him from the dead, shall not perish. That means suffer eternal damnation in hell, but have everlasting life with his Father in heaven. So that's John 3:16, a very recognizable verse. And the next one goes on Deuteronomy 7:9. And then Deuteronomy 7:9 says, "Know therefore that the Lord thy God, he is God, the faithful God, which keepeth covenant and mercy with them that love him and keep his commandments to 1,000 generations." That means you gotta know that he is the Lord thy God. He is God. He ain't a God with a lowercase g. He is a capitalized G. So you know that you're talking about God Almighty. And he goes on to say that he is a faithful God. He has never left you nor forsake you. And I can say that for sure. You can say it all you want, but he has never left you nor forsake you. And then he is the God that keepeth his covenant and keepeth his mercy. His mercy never dies. It never goeth down. His mercy never fadeth. It never goes away from you. It always stays there. And then it says, he has mercy with them that love him and keep his commandments. That means, and when it goes on to say 1,000 generations, that means forever and ever and ever. He has mercy for everybody that keepeth his commandments and loves him. So, it then goes on. Then my ninth one is Psalms 86:15. And then Psalms, the largest book in the Bible, actually 150 chapters. And that also has the longest chapter in the Bible, Psalms 119, has 176 verses in it. Well, where I'm in that Psalm 86, verse 15 says, "But thou, O Lord, art a God, full of compassion and gracious, long-suffering and plenteous in mercy and truth." That means that the Lord, he is full of compassion and grace. Like I said, with his mercy, it never goes without. It never fades, it never dies, it's always there. And it also goes on to say, and he is plenteous. That means he has very much of it. In mercy and truth. That means he never tells false things. He never tells a lie. He is full of truth and mercy. And then as he says right here, he is full of plenteous and truth. That means that, well, I look at it like we should be telling truth. Like so many people nowadays are lying and stealing and stuff. That we should be doing things for his glory. Like what we're trying to do right now, we're trying to spread the gospel and do his glory. Where we should be truthful to one another, but also be truthful to the Lord thy God. For he is truthful to you. So you should be truthful to him. And then Romans 5:8. And then my next one is Romans 5:8. It says, "But God commended his love toward us, in that, while we were yet sinners, Christ died for us." He died for everybody, but sometimes I like to change that. When Christ died for us, I like to change that. I like to change that us to you. Christ died for you. Christ died for me. He died for everybody. Because for once, while we were yet sinners, that means yet. But we've been cleansed. We've been made free from that sin. That sin's been gone away, made us white as snow. For he died for us. See, and as many people nowadays reject Christ, I don't understand that, how he gave his life for you. Like he could have sent 10,000 angels to this world to destroy and set him free, but he said no. He took it. He did not cry, he did not scream, nothing. He did not shout. He took it for you. He died for you. He shed his blood for you. He was whipped. He was put on a crown of thorns on his head for you. Nails through his hands and his feet for you. He suffered it all for you. For your sin did atone. And as I like to say that I couldn't even pay for one of the smallest, most simplest sin I've done. I couldn't even pay for it. Like a lie, I couldn't pay for that. Even though how much goodness I've done on this earth to him or other people, I couldn't do that. But you know how